Hello there. Okay, so for a while I've been looking around at different UV resins. Now I see lots of people, there are so many different ones, I see lots of people using different ones, and I've wanted to find one that I've been overall happy with, and I hadn't found one that I absolutely loved. So I had a look and I bought a few, and I thought I'd bring you along for the journey. So I've got 6 different resins. Some I've had for a while, and a couple I've just bought. So some of them I have no idea how they're going to perform. Others I've used a little bit and I've had mixed results with them. So I've done the price points for you as well. So the first one, I don't know how you say any of these names. They've got some weird names. I suppose a lot of them are Chinese. Yeah, I don't know how you say them. This is the first one. I'm not really sure how you say it, but it looks like Ouhoe, something like that. And let's see, this one was worked out at, I've worked out per mil for you, but this bottle was £35.99, so it works out as 7.1 pence per mil, which is, I always work everything out by mil, and then I know how much things have cost me to make if I'm going to sell them. So this worked out at 7.1 pence a mil. Then we've got this one, which you may have seen on lots of my videos. I've used this one quite a bit and I quite like this one. And this one's called June 6. And this bottle, this is a 200g bottle, and this was £12.85. And this works out as 6.4 pence per mil. Then lots of you would have heard of Let's Resin, so I've picked up one of theirs. One, because it was branded, and I thought, well, I'll have a look to see whether the Chinese ones compared to the branded ones compared to the really cheap ones. So I've got this one, and this one was £26.99, which works out as 5.3 pence per mil. This one is a Chinese one, came from China, bought it through eBay. And to be fair, it's not bad. This is a 100g bottle. I've had this a little while, and I'm not sure what it's called. I can see something night, but I have no idea, and it didn't say on the description what it was called either. But this one, for the 100g, was £5.18, and that's 5.2 pence a mil. This one I got from Amazon. This one was £24.99, which works out as 4.9 pence a mil. And this one, Frenchion. So this is a new one. I've not tried this one before. The Let's Resin is a new one, and this Ouhoe something is a new one as well. This is the last one. And Ouhoe, not quite sure. That's 200g, and that one was quite cheap actually. That's the cheapest one I've got, and that was £4.75 for the 200g. And that one I got off eBay, and that works out as 2.3 pence. But this one, I have used it, and this one smells horrible. It really, really smells bad. So I've got my windows open and things in here, and I don't always wear gloves when I'm using UV resin. I'm doing small things, but because I'm messing with constantly with the resin today, I've got my gloves on. But this one smells horrible, so I'm not sure why. No idea. So yeah, we'll compare that one to smell with the other ones. But what I'm going to do, I've got a sheet here, and I'm just going to give them marks out of 0 to 5, And the things that I want to test for are the smell, whether it shrinks, whether it will take colour, whether it will set with glitter, whether it will yellow, whether it comes out with a yellow, whether it's nice and clear, and whether it gives a sticky residue once cured. So I'll keep notes as we go along. I'm going to use my hair clip mould, and I'm going to use this one because I've got quite a lot to do to sort of have a look. What I'm going to do a clear one, I'm going to do one with some colour, and I'm going to do one with glitter for all 6 bottles. So I'm going to use this one so that it doesn't take me, if I use these it'll take ages to cure. So we'll do that, and we're going to use exactly the same amount of each one to keep it constant, and then we'll put them on the white paper so that I can see the colours and see how they compare to each other. So once we've done that, I'll bring you back and we'll see how we've gone. Okay, so far this is where we are. I have done all 6 clear tests. Just see if you can see all that. Yep, lovely. So the 6 clear tests. So we've got, I still can't say these names. This one, then the June 6, the Let's Resin, the Night, the Frenchen, and the Ouhoe. Right, so I've scored them. So the smell for this one and this one was a 5. For the Frenchen and the Ouhoe one, they didn't have much smell at all. Not straight out of the bottle, not when they were curing. They really didn't smell at all. The June 6 does smell. It's not offensive, but it does smell. And it smells more when it's curing. The Let's Resin smelt a little bit, only a little bit. The Night, that didn't smell very good. It did smell, I could smell it. It wasn't nice, but it didn't make me feel like I was going to be sick. The Ouhoe, this one, was horrible, absolutely horrible. So I'm going to give that one a nothing because that was awful, horrible. Then we get to the shrinkage. So the Frenchen Frenchion didn't shrink hardly at all. When I'm watching them when they cured, and I could see them peel away as they cured. I could see them, some of them really peel away from the sides of the mould. The Frenchen didn't do any of that, to be honest. It didn't peel at all away from the sides. The worst one was the Night. That was this one. That peeled straight away within seconds. No. This one. I'm telling a lie. How could I? This one. This one peeled away within seconds. It was already peeling away. But the worst with the shrinkage was this one. We're not doing too well with this one. It stinks, and it was the cheapest, but it smells. And this one, well, you see for yourself. I don't know whether you can. The whole surface is mottled and nasty, and just, I mean, you wouldn't want that on the top of your project. That just, definitely, it's all mottled and nasty, and it shrank away from the sides, and the surface seemed to sort of shrink into a, no, not pleasant at all. Stickiness. Now that is one that everybody dreads with their resin. So let's go through them. So the first one, that didn't, not sticky at all. I'm quite impressed that it wasn't sticky at all. The June one is a little bit sticky, only a tiny bit. The Let's Resin, yeah, that was sticky. It's a bit better now, but when I pulled it out, that was quite sticky, and it has got a little bit of a surface differentiation on it. The Night one, not sticky at all, really good. The Frenchen was probably is just as good as the first one, not sticky at all. And this one, you see, yeah, sticky and vile. I'm not very impressed with that at all. So let's have a look while we're here at the yellowness. So this one, I think, let me have a look. I think this one and this one, I think this one's probably, let's have a look at the window. This one and this one. Yeah, I think this one, I'm going to give that 5. And then I'm going to give this one 5 as well for the yellow. This one is quite yellow. This one I'm going to give 3. This Let's Resin is probably, I don't know whether that one or that one is the yellow. I'm only going to give that a 2 because that is quite yellow, and so is that one. And this one, surprisingly, it's not that yellow, although you can't see because it's so dimpled on the top. So for actual, I'll give that a 4 actually, because if you actually see it before without the dippledness and everything, it's actually not very yellow. So the next set of tests I'm going to use some colours. Now these can be used for both epoxy resin and UV resin. I have used them lots of times in UV resin, had no problems. So I'm going to do some of those, and then one of each, and then we'll see if they. To be fair, all of them have cured, apart from this end one. All of them have cured very well. They've all been cured for 2 minutes each, so that I could compare at what state they were at. Some of them are more bubbly than others when they come straight out the bottle. The best one for bubbles is this one. There wasn't any bubbles in it, came straight out and it went fine. Okay, so let's try the colours and we'll come back. Okay, so results time. So we've got the clear ones we did at the top, then I've got the colour ones, and each one had approximately 1.5 grams of resin and 3 drops of colour or 2 mini scoops of glitter. So the colours actually really surprised me, to be honest, because I mean the colour of this, with the same amount of colour as this, or this one, is really quite surprising. These two are beautiful and deep colours, nice and bright, whereas these two especially are dull. They've changed the colour of, this was the rose quartz, so as you can see it is really quite pink, but that's much more muted, hasn't taken the colour as well, hasn't mixed quite as well, but then I might not have mixed it as perfectly, so I'm not really gonna, the streaks I'm not gonna take in. This one is more bubbly with it. When you mix in the colours they do, but if you let it stand for a little bit more, I'm pretty sure that some of the bubbles would come out. It's just that I was on a time frame. So I've scored them all, scribbled down as I was going, that's why it's a bit messy, I'm afraid. Some of them are thicker than others. The June 6th was very thick. Now I like that because I use that for doming, but the others were all very similar. It was just this one was quite thick, and I quite like the thickness of it because it domes really well. So the glitters all came out fine. They mixed well. All of them have set. Or everyone has set. And what I did in order to find out what I wanted from a UV resin, I read a lot of the reviews on Amazon and on eBay and things like that. And one of the questions that kept coming up was that the resins wouldn't cure properly. Now for these two, there was reviews saying they didn't cure properly. They, no matter how long they left them into the lamp, they wouldn't cure. They wouldn't mix colourants with them. Glitter wouldn't mix with them. You couldn't do micas, that kind of thing. So this is why I wanted to see whether they would all set. And I did notice this is the Let's resin. Now, in the Let's resin, they give you a nice little handy sheet which says they've got the type of resin, clear UV resin or UV LED resin. Now a lot of people with this one again were saying that it wasn't setting properly, or it wouldn't set with things in it. Now if you read this little leaflet, it says is a UV curing light, UV curing lamp or a UV LED curing lamp. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people think that you can cure any UV resin in any UV lamp, but you can't. If you have got the UV LED resin, this one, this is meant to be cured in a UV LED lamp, not just a UV lamp that you would use for nails. You can get UV LED lamps for nails, but some of the older ones are just UV and they're not the same. So that is the biggest thing I found out, that not every UV lamp will cure every UV resin. So yes, I was quite surprised with that. It says they can be done in sunlight, UV LED, but the UV LED resin needs a UV LED light. So I think that's slightly unfair. You know, when you buy a resin, you should research what it needs to harden, that kind of thing. So some of the reviews I find a little bit unfair on some of them that say don't set, rubbish resin, blah blah blah. These have all set with glitter, with colour, and you know, they have all set fine. Overall, let's see. So I was expecting the most expensive to be the best and the cheapest to be the worst. So how's that worked out? So the cheapest, which is this one, was the worst. It wasn't unusable. It smells horrible. It shrinks quite a bit. The colour isn't bad actually. Takes glitter fine. It sets, but it sets with a horrible ripply effect. You couldn't get a perfect glass-like finish. It wasn't too yellow, but it's really sticky. So that only got 17 points. The top one that came out the best with 27 points was this one, which is actually the second cheapest. So this one was 4.9 pence per mil. This one, the cheapest one, was 2.3. So when you look, if you could literally only afford this, or you didn't have UV resin, then you would overcome those issues. But for me, I'm looking for my resin. I haven't compared the really expensive resins because I wouldn't use the really expensive resins on a daily basis. I know Sophie and Toffee do beautiful resins, but for everyday working, for my pieces, for keychains, for shakers, for my things to sell, I wouldn't be able to afford to use the really expensive resins because it's just not cost effective. But this one that's the cheapest one, I wouldn't buy this again, and I won't buy this again. This one has come up absolutely fantastic. The only downside to this one is it is one of the more yellow. But normally 9 times out of 10 when I do mine, I don't do them clear, I do them with colour, and the colour came out lovely. A colour, glitter, anything. And on its own, when you look at it, you wouldn't go, wow, that's yellow. Because I mean, I've seen some really yellow resins. But when you compare it to the others, it's just a little bit yellow. The second, with 26 points, was the one I can't say. Ouhoe, woo, ah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, this one was okay, very, very similar. The downside of this one, so it didn't smell, it wasn't sticky, it was great, it wasn't yellow at all. Took the glitter, the colour, yeah, wasn't fabulous. Look, it was a little bit, but you could add more colour. The only thing is, you see, with UV resin, you can't add too much of anything. That's obvious because it needs most of its integrity to set. The downside to this one is it does shrink a little bit, and I say the colour doesn't take that well. So it is a little, not as bad as the cheaper one, but it does shrink a little bit. So you would combat that with slightly overfill the mould, or if you were to dome it, you might do 2 coats, which normally gives a better finish. So yeah, we've got some really good results really. Some of them I say bubble more than others, but when you've got the colour and the glitter in there. So who was third? This little one. This one was third, and that one was 5.2 pence per mil. And in 4th place, okay, so number 4 was the Let's Resin, which I'm quite surprised about really. I was expecting more from this. I thought this would be one of the top ones. It's 5.3 pence per mil, which puts it at the third. Yes, the third most expensive. Yeah, the colour took well. The smell was, it hardly smelt. It smelt a little bit, but not much. Tiny, it shrank a tiny bit. Colour was lovely, took to the glitter well, but it was quite yellow compared to the others, and it was a bit sticky. So you couldn't get around all those things. It's not, it's not the worst one. Yeah, you can get around all those things, but the others are similar price points for better, so I was a little bit disappointed with that one. And 5th, which I'm surprised, was the June 6 or Juin 6 or however you want to say it. This only got 20. They're all still very similar because you've got the difference between these is 22, 23, 24, 26, 27. The only clear loser was number 6, which was this one. This one I quite like. I've always quite liked this resin. It's thick, it domes nicely. It does smell a little bit. It doesn't make you feel sick, but it does smell. Shrinks a tiny bit, but not that I've ever noticed when I've used it. When I've used it for doming and things like that, I haven't had a problem. But the colour didn't come out as well as I thought it would. Glitter's fine, slightly yellow, and it was a tiny bit sticky. Again, I've always got around those problems, and I quite like this one. I think I quite like it because it's quite thick, so it domes beautifully. The thinner ones don't dome so well. So that was 5th, and the 6th was this one. Yeah, about the only thing this did well was colour and glitter. It didn't yellow, but it was sticky, smelly, and it shrank loads. So definitely wouldn't go for that one again. Right, well I hope you found this useful. Oh, my doggy's going mad in the background. I hope you found this useful. Yeah, it's definitely helped me. By far the best was this one. This one and this one were very close. There's only 1 point in it, so I would definitely go with these again. The others, I say, weren't awful apart from the last one. So, but if when I come to rebuy resin, I will definitely go with these. So, yeah, thank you ever so much for watching. Do like and subscribe, you're very much appreciated. And thank you all for your time. Take care. Bye bye.